All right, I'm underneath the Firebird. I just got all the bolts out of the diff cover. I haven't cracked it open yet, but I can already smell the fluid. And if you know that smell, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna get a pan under here and I'm gonna start draining it out. And then I'm gonna take the carrier caps off so I can take them and mill them, mill flats on the back for the girdle to put the preload studs in, which I'll explain that when I do it. And then that's gonna get new bolts, a lot thicker, and it's gonna add quite a bit of strength to this 9-bolt differential that I have. So without further ado, let's get draining. I had to go grab a screwdriver to get the diff cover off. I got my pan ready. And now, here comes the smell. The infamous differential fluid smell. I'm not too worried about bending this cover because I'm not going to reuse it. Oh, but I may have to reposition myself. Oh, there it is. Actually, that fluid doesn't look too bad. I've seen a lot worse before. I can't really tell on camera, but it's not even really dark. It doesn't have a lot of shavings or anything in it. That's a really good sign. This is a 327 gear ratio posi unit, 9-bolt Borg Warner. They don't make these anymore. I've been told that they're rare, but I've had them on quite a few of the 3rd gen Firebirds that I've owned, and I always prefer them. They are a pretty good posi unit as long as they last. The thing that wears out in these, they have cones in them that are the posi unit, but this one actually looks in really good shape. I don't know if you can see that, but the next part that I'm going to do is I'm going to take these carrier bolts out here so I can take these carriers off and mill flats on the back so that they have a spot for the preload bolts to go on and press against. See if we can get these to break loose. I just tried with a 3/8 ratchet and it wasn't budging for me, so stepped up to a 1/2-inch drive. Oh yeah, there we go. There she broke loose. There's one. There's two. Okay, there's the other one. Now I'm going to take these, I'm going to mark them tops and what side they go to. And then I'll end up milling these spots right here for my preload bolts on my differential, my new differential girdle to make contact with. So we'll take these on over to the mill. So I've got my left and my right both bagged and double tagged. I've got a tag on inside and outside because we know how Marker likes to wipe off these bags sometimes. So double tagged, they only go on one direction. So I know that as long as I have the sides correct, I'll be able to reinstall them how they came off. This is my rear end girdle. It's a TA Performance. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, so I'll give a little free advertisement. But this right here is what I need to do with these caps, is mill them flat right there. And the reason being, nice new shiny bolts. Comes with a nice new gasket, which these gaskets can be hard to find for these 9 bolts, so I'm glad that they sent me one. Right here, these bolts here, actually a preload, and actually I think this looks beautiful. It's gonna really really make the rear end look really nice underneath that car. But if you see, there's these 2 bolts here, and those pass through, and they have those feet there, and those add preload to your carrier caps. So there's a little more strength when you do a hard launch at the drag strip or doing burnouts or whatever you want to do. So that's the reason that I'm milling these down. And then as soon as I get done with that, I will show you guys putting this guy on and what it looks like afterwards. Alright, so now I've got these bearing caps all cleaned up. I've got them stamped for left side. I stamped them towards the top. That one's the right side. Alright, now we've got it set up in the mill. And as you can actually tell, one of the reasons it's important to keep your left and right where they're in their respective places where they came off of. You can actually see there's a difference in these caps and how they're machined from the factory and how they were set up originally. So now we're gonna get these imperfections or these casting spots milled flat so that our studs can mount flat on that. Got them machined. All my machined edges that created burrs, I just smoothed out with some emery cloth, and I inspected all these bolts for stretch to make sure that they weren't overstretched at some point. They all checked out pretty good. I inspected them for cracks. We're going to give everything one more good clean because we don't want to introduce any foreign crud or material into the differential. We want to keep it all as clean as possible. So I'm gonna give this stuff one more clean, and then we'll go reinstall it. All right, now that the machine work's done, let's get back at it. I have my cap that's stamped right. Going. All right, time to go get a torque wrench. All right, back with the torque wrench. We're gonna torque this in steps. Set at 20 pounds first, and then after they're all torqued to 20 pounds, we'll go back and step them up to 30, and then we'll step them up to the final torque spec of 40 pounds. And there's 40. All right, I think we're ready for the differential cover now. We've got the studs backed out so that we can put this cover on without interfering with the caps. Got a gasket to slap on there. We got our bolts, so let's have at it. All right, we're back underneath the Firebird. We got our new girdle and gasket. And let's see if we can get this baby installed.
this might be a problem. Maybe not. Nope, just gotta be smarter than the girdle there. All right, we've got it set up in place. The next trick is gonna be lining up the gasket with the holes. I think I'm pretty close right now. Maybe if we lean it back a little bit. Okay, got one bolt in there. And there we go. There's one lined up. Let's get a second one lined up and hold that gasket from rotating on us. And it looks like we've got it there. Next, let's get it up into position and start these bolts. There's one started. There's two started. Now we may have a problem once we get down to this bottom one here behind this sway bar. I don't want to have to drop the sway bar, but it looks like it shouldn't be too difficult if I do need to. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now I was hoping to do this without having to lift the car at all, but it's starting to look like I'm gonna have to lift it up a little bit, for one, to get my cap support bolts, my studs there, get those torqued properly, because this track bar is going to be in the way, and I don't want to have to take all that off. It's going to be a lot more work than just taking the sway bar down and maybe jacking the car up and letting the rear end drop just a hair, just so I get to those bolts and I can feel it easier and I can torque all these bolts all the way around. The only reason I got to take the sway bar off is just to get to that bottom bolt on this cover. So we'll jack the car up and reconvene. So we got her jacked up in the air, and it looks like I won't have to drop the sway bar at all. And it put all my bolts in a good position. So we'll get at torquing everything up, and I've got it all installed. Everything's torqued up, everything's refilled with oil. I don't see any leaks. It looks beautiful. Now we're just gonna get it back off the jack stands and go install the starter, and hopefully we'll have it moving under its own power. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to all of your friends. Over the last couple weeks, since I haven't been able to post any videos, I've noticed the viewership's gone up a lot. We've been gaining a lot of followers. I would love to keep pushing for more and more followers. If you guys have any comments or tips or advice that maybe you want to see more of or less of, anything like you want me to shorten up the videos, make them longer, you don't like the music, throw any comments you want my way. I'm not going to be offended. I'd love to keep building this channel up. So until next time, have a good time and get out there and work on your projects.